Oh, sorry to interrupt, people. It's Drogba here. Just letting you know that in this episode, we got the chance to speak to three Socceroos, Cam Burgess, Joe Gauci, and Ryan Grant. So when one ends, another one starts, back to back to back. Shout out to Socceroos for this opportunity. We appreciate it.
Oh, let's rock and roll,
Ladies
baby.
and gentlemen, welcome to Suited and Booted. We're not in Baronia. We're on the 20th floor of some hotel. I'm your host, Drogba. To my right, we have...
Lord Mahazi.
To his right.
CFO GD.
To his right.
The number 10.
And we are joined today by the Man Mountain.
Big player.
Big Burge. Cam Burgess, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. It's good to be on. Thanks
Beautiful,
for having me on, guys.
beautiful. Now, we're all at the game last night, and I said I thought Cam won man of the match.
You said that. I always thought Harry Suto was incorrect, but he was right in your corner, man. He said he thought you were man of the match.
Yeah,
to
I
be
think I
fair.
was man of the match as well.
Yeah.
About time footballers are honest.
No,
Aiden deserved it.
he did, to be fair.
Yeah, he
there was a
did
few
play
boys
well.
out there played well. So.
Yeah.
How was it playing against that team? Because for me, they look like wind-up merchants. Like, they just look like they're trying to get under your skin.
Yeah, they can at times, I suppose. Every time we play against teams that maybe do that, it kind of gets addressed that, look, you got to be professional, you got to, don't play up to it. And sort of, it's hard at times, but you got to live with it and you got to deal with it, I suppose.
Jake, you were saying the number 5, their centre-back.
Oh, he's the best at shithousery I've come across.
So what did you do to Ronaldo?
Well, he's got Ronaldo sent off once or twice from just like lipping in his ear and retaliation.
Yeah, I can see
which I feel you boys handled really well last night because
you kind of have
it's quite difficult. I can imagine from you coming from the Premier League as well, where it's wouldn't happen as much, or if it does, it's sometimes you'd leave studs on people and they'd have to wear it as well.
Yeah, I guess so. Everything's watched, I suppose, but yeah,
That's true.
But you're right. The number 5's like you can. A few of the boys have played against him before.
Right.
Said that, but yeah, you can see it when you.
It's
play.
an art. It's an art.
Oh, 100%.
It's a great. He's brilliant at it.
Is there anything I can do?
What was going on? Because I saw a little bit of an argument around when Valupile was coming off, and I saw Jackson getting angry, which is I feel like quite rare, and yelling at the bench. What was going on there?
Oh well, so Nish went down, and we sort of seen it, but they didn't. So we were trying to kick out the pitch. Right? And I've never misplaced a pass in my life, so obviously I've kicked out on purpose. I seen him down. I just I tried to pass out the first time, and I've actually passed it to Bossy. So and then he didn't do it. He didn't realise. So I kicked out, and then they thought that I misplaced like a 1-2 or something. So we were going on at them, and then the guy, the long-haired coach on the bench, is giving all this sort of stuff. So
the chemistry between that back three in particular, you guys have had a few games together, or that set up under Popper. You guys look really strong. Yeah,
to be fair, ever since I've been involved in the national team, I'm not saying it's me, by the way, but I feel like the base and the defensive shape's generally been pretty good. And then what the bosses sort of brought, adding little details and stuff, it's been good.
Yeah.
What is the difference? Just I don't know if I'm jumping ahead
go.
but what would you say is some of the key differences now with Popper?
The different coaches, right? What Arnie brought was a lot different to what the boss brings now. But what I would say that we have now is there's a lot of detail and a lot of things like I think he's probably made players' jobs on the pitch a lot more black and white, if that makes sense. Whereas maybe with Arnie, it was a different style at times. We had clear ideas and what he wanted to do, but it was he was big on making sure the boys are prepared in terms of mentally and like he believed in our ability all the time. So I guess so. So in my time in football, I've noticed that the younger boys that are coming through now maybe respond a little bit better to the detail and making it a little bit more black and white, I'd probably say.
That's a great point.
Let's go back to the early days of your career. You went on a lot of loan spells to some teams all around England. We've got Cheltenham, Scunthorpe, Salford. I just want to know, because I've got a fascination with the lower leagues in England. I just feel like that's where real football is happening on the terraces and even on the pitch. You know, you're not always going to get the best surfaces. You're not always going to get the best facilities. What was the hardest place you had to go to play against, like in terms of fans, just the atmosphere? It could be the pitch. It could be traveling there. Like there's like 70 teams in League 1, 2, you know. So what was the hardest place to travel to?
I didn't like going to Barrow.
Barrow's
like...
I don't even
You
know
just
where that is.
yeah, exactly. So it's basically they don't even train in Barrow. I think I'm pretty sure they train in Manchester. But like games, it's like you. I think what I don't like about it is the fact that you have to drive from Manchester all the way up, and then you have to drive all the way back down. It's like there's like a
One
bit of
road.
water in between. You have to go like round sort of thing. So that annoys you straight away. The weather's not always the best. And the pitch, when I've played on it, hasn't been great. And I don't think I've won there, which tops it off.
I've actually got something on. Cam's actually quite famous in my family because I'm half English, so I want to see if you'll get this. But my mum's from a place in England that's, I don't want to say shit on it too much, but it's famous for an advert for it's not being the best place in England to play football, the great Accrington Stanley. My mum's born and raised in Accrington.
Was your mum born in Accrington?
Yeah,
Wow.
and he played for Accrington Stanley.
Oh, there you go.
Well,
Do you know what? I loved it there.
It's a famous club.
Yeah.
Everyone who goes
Because
there
of
loves.
that advert.
Yeah, so they have an advert. You probably could do it better than me, but pretty much I can't remember who's the celebrity on it.
It's the Sky Swell, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like
If you don't drink your milk,
yeah.
you'll end up playing for Accrington Stanley. Which is
I
like,
like that.
they're like a great definition of what the lower league clubs that are punching above their weight, doing really well, is in
Yeah,
England.
I feel like they've been sort of staying 2-1 for a while and not going. Am I wrong by saying that?
Well, the manager I had when I was there, John Coleman,
Famous
basically-
coach.
Yeah, so he's basically like they had nothing by all accounts. Like him and the assistant manager and whoever they had there was like they did everything themselves. Like
Wow.
literally everything. And even when I was there in League One, he managed to he built a really good team around like good recruitment, finding guys from the lower leagues, these gems sort of thing, and guys would get sold on sort of thing. But we had a really good team, but there was no we didn't have a warm up coach. We didn't really do the gym. It was like
Facilities aren't great.
the facility, it was literally it was. But I loved it. It was like it was so fun. Like the group of boys we had were, top guys, and we just turned like I'd be there like 10 o'clock in the morning. I'd be like home for 12:30.
It's a bit of a boring place to live, though.
So I didn't live in.
Oh, I was gonna
Accrington.
say,
I lived in Preston actually. But
Preston. Okay,
it
which
was
is nice.
honestly,
Right?
It was
Yeah.
some of the best stories from that place.
There you go.
What about in terms of fans? Do you remember one game where you just copped copious amounts of stick from a set of supporters? Because they can be pretty rough down in those lower leagues.
And you can hear them.
Oh, you can hear them. That's the difference.
which is the worst part.
I probably copped it a few times with different places. Usually the home fans. But probably one of the biggest ones was probably Millwall. We played Millwall, and it was like it was my first time. I played a few games in the Championship, but I was young, and then it was my first. Like I'd sort of gone on a few loans, like you said, and I've ended up getting to League One. First time playing in that league, and it was like maybe my first or second game was at the Den, and it's just like it's like even little kids.
I've been.
Like,
when I went, I felt for the whole 90 minutes. I said to my friends, "Don't say anything, just watch the game."
Yeah.
And there was this ominous feeling around the ground. It was grey. The walk up is horrible. It's like there's all this graffiti, and you go through this tunnel. And even little kids.
Yeah.
Like their grandpa says something,
Yeah.
they echo it, and they're like 5. And I'm not going to repeat what was being said.
There's some explicit words. And it's like, go on. Keep it going.
Maccas, we'll get Maccas after, lad. Yeah, good work. Yeah.
So speaking on going to the Championship, I mean, back-to-back promotions.
Bravo, by the way,
is
man. That's the dream.
There's not many teams that have done that. I believe the last team that did it was Southampton, which would have been like over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
How does that even happen? Like, did you bring in crazy amounts of new players to the team, or was it just, you know what, we're going to keep the core group and we're going to push because we believe we can do it. And you guys ended up finishing second.
Because it's so hard to be done. Like each league to get out of is a serious mission, right?
You know, like even in League One, I can't remember the exact games, but we had to go and win something like 13 of the last 15 to get promoted. It was like the Sheffield Wednesday at the time were like flying and ended up having a blip basically, and it was like we was like 100 points, 100 or was it 100 points maybe, just short of 100 points and 100 goals just to get second.
Wow.
So even that League One team, like the League One season, and we had a pretty good team for League One, and then the Championship. I guess just like the fact that we knew, again going back to the details and all that sort of stuff, because it was pretty close to the same team. The details and stuff were just like with everything you were doing. You could shut your eyes and you knew what you were going to do. And
I just want to say, when you got promoted, the first promotion, going into the second season, was the word around the club, all right, we're going to try and go again?
Nah, as like, don't get me wrong, the ambition of the club and the steps forward the club was making, the owners and the League One and all that sort of stuff, that was obviously their ambition. But from the group, it was never talked about. We never talked about promotion.
Yeah, the site, it just wasn't.
We just sort of like, I mean, if you'd asked me like what I thought we could do in the first season of the Championship, like I didn't think we'd be fighting relegation. I thought we'd do fairly well. I think for me, I looked at the league the season before, and there was teams finishing in the playoffs, and they were losing maybe like a third of the games, maybe a little bit less than a third of the games, and I just felt like I just don't see us losing that many. Because at that point, like in League One, we'd never gone back-to-back losses. We'd always you know what I mean? Like, okay, you lose a game, back it up and bounce back sort of thing. I just felt like I couldn't see us losing that many. So I felt like, okay, playoffs would be great. Yeah. First season in the Championship, but I actually felt like, I could maybe nick into playoffs. That'd be pretty cool.
Would you say from the first year, do you think you were playing similar football in the next year, and that was just good enough, or do you think you went into another gear to? Yeah,
definitely another gear. You have to. Definitely another gear. I mean, like not through doing anything different. It was just doubling down on what we were good at, I suppose.
Wow. Also, what a lot of coaches and teams get wrong, it's like what you said. You obviously got promoted, and then you've basically kept the same squad, and you can play basically with your eyes closed, what you just said. Yeah. And I think that's so important where a lot of clubs go wrong and they go, all right, we'll just invest, we'll get all these big names in, and then they end up fumbling it.
Yeah,
you know?
I guess like from the good side of that was we had to be fair, a Championship-ready squad in League One. Like Ipswich in League One is a pretty big attraction, right? The club shouldn't be in League One.
Yeah, for sure.
So obviously, attracting players was fine. We were winning games, and to be fair, like up till January, we had a good chance, but like we were sitting playoffs, we weren't flying. Yeah. And then the recruitment in January was pretty good. I think we brought in like 4 players.
Did you bring in Amari that year?
No, he was the Championship.
He was the Championship year. Yeah.
But we brought in like 4 players in the January of League One that probably kicked us on. Like they were good players.
Kieran McKenna, when did he come into the fold? Was that Championship?
So that was League One. So it was Paul Cook who signed me, and like I was like one of 22 signings or something like that. So it was crazy. So you say about like signing a lot of players. Like that was new owners, new CEO, new manager, full new squad.
Yeah.
And then obviously that's hard to get right. Yeah. So
and that was first year you got promoted.
No, that was the first year that I'd signed there. So that was like we finished like 13th, 11th, something like that, mid-table. But the boss came in around about Christmas time that first season.
Right.
Yeah. So we had like 6 months of
6 months under him.
We went on a pretty good run, but like just sort of like should have been on that run type of thing. It wasn't like anything special, but like just like straight away the difference from like what the boss was doing and stuff. It was like, right, okay, we're going to thrive off this sort of thing.
Do you know the context of Kieran McKenna at all? Like his background? No. So he was pretty much like you'd say a youth coach at Man United to an extent.
Yeah, even before that, Tottenham as well.
Yeah, was he at Tottenham too? Yeah. But his like the esteem coming out of his stuff at Man United was like he's literally the best young coach in England. So much so that like Man U were putting in offers. There were big Premier League clubs that talking. Like his name was swirling around. And then he obviously was at Ipswich. This was like his first senior coaching job he had. and he just got him back-to-back promotions. So
I meant Chelsea, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't not my state for.
yeah, by the way, we should. He's got a real big, serious issue with his love for Chelsea. He always references him when we're not even talking about it. Yeah. Cole Palmer's like his brother. Like he acts like he knows him.
Hey, fair play.
Yeah, well.
Mate, we're talking about at the moment around Australia. I'm not sure if you're across the A-League, but this promotion relegation is a big discussion. You know, I've played through some relegation, not so much promotion. Can you talk through the feeling and like the atmosphere of a club that's going through a period where you're potentially going to get promoted, and the feeling as a player going through that?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I'd say, it's incredible, and the buzz is amazing, and I guess the pressure it creates is exciting. It's fun. The emotions you go through, I suppose, at times, is trying to keep that in check is crazy. And obviously, if you, especially like from outside the changing room, if you lose a game, it's no, that's it, we're
done.
Yeah, we're done. You win 2 games in a row, it's we're gonna do it, and it's just like that all the time.
Really?
It's a roller coaster. Yeah, it's good. That's what you're trying to do, right?
Oh, that's fun.
It's good fun. But I've also been on the other side. I've been in like the relegation side, and you're like trying to, you know what I mean? It's just this like. Yeah,
Play for your life.
You don't know.
you're playing for your life.
Yeah.
But it feels the same when you're trying to get promoted. It's like, it's like all this hard work, you want to get over the line, you want to do it, and it's like,
From you're probably going to go into the Premier League stuff, but just on your own game as a defender, because I feel like your career, you've really put in a shift to get recognised on the national team level. Like, how old are you now?
29.
29, right? But just from your own individual game, going up through the leagues, what have you felt you've had to adjust, or what you've gotten better at to be able to continuously jump with the level?
I guess I owe a lot to the coaches at Ipswich. Is a big thing. They've improved me a lot. And to double down on that, basically just the right fit, the right team that gets the best out of you. I feel like I probably played in a few teams where it maybe didn't suit me to get the best out of my game a little bit at times. So that helps a lot. I'd say those 2 things probably.
Right.
Can I just add on, because you've been through so many clubs, especially for young listeners that are listening to this, I feel like there would have been moments, like you just said, that clubs that didn't fit you, but then you did find the right move.
Yeah.
Is there any advice you would give to young kids for that?
Get out.
Look, don't get me wrong. You look at Accrington and you look at Ipswich, and it's 2 completely different teams. But I loved it at Accrington, and I felt like for what was needed there, I played well. But the environment helped because I could get along with the boys and stuff there. Whereas some of maybe loans and things like that, it was just like, I don't really enjoy this bit or that bit and about the place, and or the club might be in a little bit of turmoil and all that sort of stuff. And and then to like Ipswich is completely different, where everything's done so like professionally, like it's the top of everything effectively, and that gets the absolute best out of me. It's just
because you've been through both sides.
So there's I guess the one thing is you can take a lot from everything.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree with the right club, the right fit is only going to...
You probably really appreciate it too, because you've probably got experience enough now to know when it's really valuable and good.
Yeah.
To just like enjoy it too.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, that's the one thing I'd say. Like, I wish I could do a little bit more. I wish I could enjoy it a little bit more. And like, I love playing. I just feel like me playing at the best, I just kind of float through and don't think about how good or bad you're doing and stuff like that. That's when I'm playing at my best. So like, then you end up not appreciating it a little bit. I'm hoping that like when I'm finished playing, maybe I can go, I remember that was quite good.
Yeah.
You feel like you have to be like, I don't know about you guys, but you feel like you have to be a little bit like that sometimes as well, because if you get too attached to what's happening, maybe you can lose a bit of focus, or like you might not have your edge.
Maybe.
Like probably what you said, having that flotation mindset is good for the ups and downs too.
Probably. And like, not many people get to do 2 promotions in 2 seasons. Like, the first
ridiculous.
one happened, it was kind of like a little bit me thought, right, we probably should have done that. And then the second one was like, oh, that was, we weren't supposed to do that maybe.
What would you say is your funniest or most unique story from that championship season? Is there one that sticks out, like with another player or something, or it could just be
a player?
You probably can't say a few of them on here.
I don't know. From the championship season, honestly, I can't remember a lot of it. It was like, it was honestly
Big time down, man. He forgot the.
No, forgot. Literally just playing. Honestly,
What about the rivalry with Norwich?
Yeah, that was.
So so a lot of Australian listeners won't exactly know that the hatred there between those two teams.
Well, not many do, because it's quite far out the way. Obviously, you know it's the rivalry and you know it's big, but until the build up to it, you can you definitely feel like the tension around the place.
Do you know this particular Ipswich fan that carries around a bottle of mustard?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Can we get
follow
some
him.
context of
I
that?
follow him. He's hilarious, and that's how I sort of.
Did he just say what I think he said?
Nick Mueller or something. His name is.
Yeah.
So the players
he's at
know
every
him.
game. Yeah. Well, like he's at every game. Like I mean, I don't. We don't talk about him, but I've seen him. I've seen him on like Instagram and stuff like that. And he wears like the bucket hat and stuff.
Yes, the bucket hat. He carries carries around a mustard.
Why is it mustard though?
Because it's like Norwich colour, I think. And
It's a
like,
Norwich colour.
Okay.
He
It's
says
his
like
superstition.
what do you say? East Anglia's blue and white, never
Yes.
green and yellow or something like that.
Yeah.
And but he keeps like saying it.
Because are you guys really the only two teams out that way? Like the big.
Yeah, well, Colchester's there as well,
Right.
kind of. But I guess the bigger rival, it's Norwich, Ipswich.
was
That's
that
the
like
biggest.
say the most tense game you've played in? You would say.
Like in terms of derbies, yeah, probably. Trying to think.
Tense game. What about the game on the weekend? It's played in.
That was tense, but
Yeah,
but like that. No, but it,
but
it
Spurs
probably
are easy.
was. It probably is because there is literally like you better do well here. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like
it's a bit of
this is
that.
bragging right, especially because like the Norwich fans always say like we haven't beat them in years and all this sort of stuff, but we haven't been in the same league for a lot of those years. They're counting them years as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it ends up being a cagey game. So it was like we think we should have won the home game. Conceded 2 poor goals, and the away game didn't really go to plan. Really, they scored a free kick. We were under the pump for the first half, so they sort of sat off and kept their lead in the second half. So yeah, I feel like we probably left one out there. But I guess at the end of the season, if you get promoted and they don't, then
Who's laughing, bro?
So the Ipswich fans are starting to love you, at least on Twitter anyway. I had a bit of a read yesterday. A few of my favourite tweets were, I'm English, but if Cam Burgess sticks that beautiful big bonce of his on the ball and plants one in the top corner, I'm cheering. I think that was someone watching the game last night.
yeah, must have been.
Bonce means head.
Yeah, I've never heard bonce in my life.
Bonce's head.
Yeah, okay.
There's a few left field ones.
Yeah.
There's another one I can't read. And there's can't wait for Big Cam Burgess to empty his pockets next season. Keys, wallet, phone, Haaland. And who is... Talk to us about this fake Cam Burgess, Harry Clark.
Yeah, so it's Harry Clark's brother, and
He looks
apparently-
exactly like you.
Yeah, apparently so. But this was on the night we got promoted. So everyone's obviously steaming, and we're in this like bar place in Ipswich, and he's come down the stairs. I've seen the video. Have you seen it? He comes down the stairs, and someone thought it was me. He's like shouting me over, and he's come over, and he's obviously steaming as well. So
Did he lap it up?
He didn't really know what was going on. Everyone was just a bit like, "What's going on?"
Is that the same night that Ed Sheeran was there?
No, that the Ed Sheeran night that was just us with him. Is that the one you're talking about, where we're like having a sing song and stuff like that?
Yeah,
That was.
Oh, how many nights of Ed Sheeran have you heard?
Comes around my house.
You boys with him? Do you get that access to him? Because he's obviously for people
When
that
he
aren't.
comes to the games, no, I'm not texting him or anything like that.
Nah,
he
Duck.
wouldn't reply to me.
Yeah, that'll happen. That'll happen. Give it a few more games.
Yeah. But he comes to. He has a box at the stadium. He's now got shares in the club. He sponsors the kit. He he's a big fan.
His
now.
album's on the kit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is such a flex move from a musician.
It's
Just
crazy.
It's cool.
got his own his boyhood club.
Yeah, but he comes to a lot of the games, and we've seen him after the game a few times and stuff. But that night was that was some night like that was maybe if the game's on the Saturday. It was maybe like the Wednesday or something like that.
Wow.
All right.
Few more because we've got 5 minutes. Generic one, but I want to know toughest forward you've faced so far this season.
This season,
Who have you? You've played some big teams,
so
right?
I've played
Ipswich.
me this season. I've played the Everton game. I played Brentford, I played Leicester, and then I played Tottenham.
Wow.
So that game of the weekend was tough, so I'm going to have to go with, Solanke and Johnson.
Yeah.
Running after them.
Johnson's
I played
in
against
form,
Johnson
isn't
when
he?
he was in League One. He was on loan at Lincoln, and I was at Accrington.
Wow.
And I was playing left back against him. Imagine me playing left back.
He's quick.
So tuck inside and get the wing a bit.
Yeah.
But he didn't score, so
That's it. There you
Thanks
go.
for beating Spurs. Well done.
yeah.
And just finally, I want to find out when you first got the Socceroos call up, where were you? Who'd you tell first? How were you feeling? Like, talk to us about that exact moment when you got the call.
First one was the Mexico game, and we were actually at an away game. We had Reading, so I found out in the hotel. And yeah, it was the boys in the team, basically the first people I told, because I was like just got off the phone. Arnie called me, and then told the boys, and then went and told my fiance and then my mum and dad and stuff like that.
How did the
Anyone
boys
who
react?
listened.
Like, how do you walk in? Hey, boys, I've just been caught up in the national team.
No, everyone's buzzing. To be fair, yeah, it was pretty special.
How many more internationals are there in your current team?
We have a few. So there's the 3 boys that play for Ireland.
Yep.
We've got 2 boys who play for Wales. A couple of boys are in the England under 21s. And then myself and Mass. And then there's Ali plays for Iraq.
Yep, there you go, Noor.
Is that
Noor's
it?
Iraqi.
Wait, can I just quickly,
go for
because I just want to spend the Tottenham game, like that's a massive win for you guys. It was first of the season, right?
Yeah.
Can you just talk us through the stadium? Because everyone says that's like one of the best stadiums in the world. And then also just playing against Ange's Tottenham, because it seems like one of the most progressive styles of football going around.
Yeah, so the stadium is crazy. Like, I don't know how many times I've watched that video of them putting out the NFL pitch.
Yeah. Wow, it's insane, man.
Yeah. And then the grass is perfect and it's been underground. For like it's special. Like, so seeing it empty was cool, like how it is and stuff like that, and then full as well. Like it's cool. And then and just Tottenham is like the most intense thing in the world. It's
plays
like
going everywhere.
They're like, we knew that going in, so like, okay, we're as prepared as we possibly could be, but it's a tough old game. Like, playing against
What was the hardest thing you think? Because obviously you guys won, which is a flex. But what was the hardest thing to contain? Just playing that.
Yeah, just that intensity. Like, if like you watch us like towards the end, there's some boys pretty tired out there, like trying to just sort of. Obviously they were attacking a lot the second half. We had like a lead to hold on to, but yeah, it was just to try and keep up that intensity and not like drop off and try and like hang on in our box sort of thing. It was just trying to maintain it for as long as we could.
There's quite a bit of talk, obviously, around Ange being over there now and within Australia. Can you say a little bit about what the talk amongst the players is about Ange in England?
Just
Not necessarily
obviously
just your team, but like just around as much as you know.
I mean, he's done pretty well. Everyone seems to like him. I mean, what he's done for the Spurs team, that's probably had a few years of defensive sort of coaches, and he's sort of he's like stepped up, and it's exciting football. So everyone knows him as that brave football, exciting, high intensity, and like the Spurs games are the ones people want to watch because of that. So.
What a player, man.
I think we'll wrap it up there. Cam Burgess,
man of the match last night.
Yeah, in my eyes anyway.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
his. Yeah, yep. We'll be cheering for you in the Prem, man. Well, except for when you play Chelsea.
I'll be cheering for you, bro, because we love hanging
I'll
on
be
him.
cheering for me as well.
Yeah. No, thank you, bro. We appreciate it.
Good
man.
luck for everything, bro. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me
Appreciate
on.
it, man.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Cheers.
bro.
All right, we back. Number 2.
Yes.
Well, he's number 1.
Yeah.
But number 2 pod. Big Joe Gauci. How you going, man?
Good. Thanks for having me, boys.
Mate, glad.
Love it,
Pleasure to
man.
be sat
We had a
here.
great start. Sorry, man. I just got to cut you off, but we've had
Yeah.
Jerome's had the most fucked 2 handshakes.
We got to bring it. We got to bring in the other Joe. But for those
Me
that
and the
can't
other
see,
Joe.
for those that can't see, we've got the marketing manager of
Yeah.
the Socceroos with us in the background, and we've. You want to say?
Well, I had an $11 bottle of water in my hand from downstairs that tastes like pissed, to be honest. And while I had it in my hand, I went for to shake Joe's hand, but I gave him the weakest handshake ever.
we noticed one of the worst handshakes known to mankind. Yeah, it was like
couple of
fingers.
fingers.
It was a couple of fingers. And we said it to Jerome. He goes, "Man, I'm going to go to bed thinking about that handshake."
They're the worst.
Also, Jake, do you want to tell
you're
Joe?
sitting. I think you're. What are you? Oh, you're sitting on a clean sheet, mate.
You're sitting on a clean
I've been dying to get that out all night, bro. I'll take that off you, bro. Yeah. I've been dying to get that out all night.
You've been talking about that since last
I had
night.
to get it out of my system.
I thought you were worried I was going to stay in the chair or something.
Mate, I went to bed thinking about that one. And I told my mum, she's like, "Man, that is corny as hell."
I love it. Don't listen to Mom.
Yeah, well, that's all right, mate. We might get you to sign it after. We'll sell it for the suited booted.
Tough game last night.
Yeah.
There was one specific sequence of play where I thought, you machine. It ended up being offside, but...
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But how tough were they to play against? Because there was a few moments there where we thought, they got the disallowed goal as well.
Yeah.
Are they one of the tougher teams you've come up against so far?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Japan away was pretty tough, but I thought they were more aggressive in their press. Especially in that first half, I don't think we expected them to be that aggressive. Obviously, the change of manager as well.
Yeah.
You know they're going to, I heard that they were also in for a bit of a bonus if they won. So,
Oh, my.
Like every game ever.
That's why they ran on the pitch when they scored.
They won Bugattis after the Argentinian. It was like game 1 of the World Cup.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
They knew that Bono was coming.
No, they were aggressive. And yeah, the first half, there was definitely some tough moments.
Mate, what a save you made before halftime. I don't know what the sequence of play was, but you pretty much, it was like there was a point blank shot.
That's what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Was that what you were
No,
talking about?
I was talking about the double save.
Oh, yeah. How many saves you make, mate?
I think that was it.
Yeah.
The double save. That's the one I'm talking about. Where
the
they
boys
rounded
in front,
you sort
to
of...
be fair, I don't face that many shots.
Yeah.
Like, our defenders are so good.
Is that harder, though, as a keeper sometimes? Like that concentration aspect? Or do you
I
enjoy
think
that?
so.
Yeah.
In parts, but it's just like, I just got to talk myself through the game. If I'm talking the whole time, I know that like mentally I'm in the game.
That's great.
If I'm just stood there, then more than likely I'm switched off.
Yeah.
And I
You
have
had a bit to
switched
do
off.
with your feet, like the ball to your feet. Playing
Yeah.
Out, huh? Is that part of the style that you're playing at the moment, or is that just the way the game went?
It definitely is type of the style that we want to play. With my club, it's also something that we work on a lot. I probably had some moments that I could do better with as well, and I know that's always been the side of my game where I've been the weakest at, and obviously the way the game's changed. Goalkeeper now, you have to be just as good with the ball at your feet
you gotta be a midfielder,
as a
right?
player.
Yeah.
Because if a team goes man on man, you're the only free player on the pitch. So you've got to be utilised to be able to play out. So it can be challenging at times, and if I'm not seeing the pictures early, you get caught. So
Something I realised last night watching you when you had the ball at your feet, I realised like as a keeper, you almost have to be 2-footed more than a player. You almost have to be comfortable
With the
more
way you
than a
get
player.
shut down.
Because you get forced onto certain sides.
Hospital balls.
and teams will try and do it as well. They'll go, okay, he's right-footed, we'll force him onto his left. Makes sense, to try and do that. We're trying to do that to the opposition as well, even if it's the centre half. Okay, he's left-footed, show him inside, or if he's playing the opposite side, show him onto his weaker foot. So, like I said, it's just the way the game's going. You look at the best keepers in the world; they can play with both feet with ease. Yeah. So it's like if that's the level you want to get to, you've got to be able to do it. Otherwise, you get found out.
I want to go back in time a little bit because there's a funny little excerpt that I found. So you were turned down for a place in AIS as a junior.
Yeah.
Is that
I don't
correct?
think it was really. I don't think I was even in consideration for a place.
Okay.
To be honest, but I went to it was NTC Challenge at the time.
Okay,
When you're
yes.
50, you go to Canberra and do all that, and they take the best players from there and put them in the AIS system, and
Yep.
I wasn't good enough at the time.
Offered a trial by Mariners then.
Yeah.
So you left school to go to the Mariners.
Yeah, middle of year 12.
Yep. Then they didn't renew, and then this part always gets me because I've read it a few times. You returned to Adelaide and then applied for a job at Foot Locker.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just, I didn't just leave Mariners and just go straight to Foot Locker. I mean, there was a little bit that happened in between.
You put a bit of mayonnaise on that, Jerome.
Obviously.
I just gave up straight away. Straight to Foot Locker.
And the boots and the gloves.
No, I was going to compliment you on his sneakers too, man. They're nice,
The
bro.
point that I'm trying to make is, for young footballers, the setbacks,
Yeah.
like what was going through your head then when it's like, okay, AIS, nah, Mariners, nah. Like, what was your plan
I mean, a lot
to go
happened
back?
in between. So, like, AIS, I was, like, when the team for that got picked, I was 15.
Yep.
I then, when I played MPL, I started playing MPL first team
Yep.
at 16. A year and a half later was the trial. So I did the year. By the time I got released from the Mariners, I was 18. And I just went back and played MPL. Went back and played at Adelaide City.
Yep.
Played 10 games. Went on a trial at Melbourne City for a week. And then after that, I hadn't heard anything for about 6 weeks. And by then, you know how the MPL season runs different.
Yeah.
You know, it runs through our winter, whereas A-League runs through the summer.
Yep.
There was a little gap where, like, MPL had finished and I hadn't heard anything. And I was like, well, I need money.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I got to go for a job interview. So I
Well,
actually went.
screw that article that I read because they made it seem like screw football.
Well, even so,
Yeah.
you've opened up a greater story because
Yeah.
man, that you proper grafted, man.
Yeah, so I went for the interview, and no word of a lie, I got home from the job interview, and as soon as I sat down on my bed, my agent at the time rang me and said, Melbourne City have offered you a scholarship. Do you want to take it? So I'd done the job interview, and I told him I was just a professional soccer player. You know, obviously I'm into sport, all that kind of stuff, hoping it would help me get the job.
Yeah.
I had to ring him back maybe an hour or so later and was like, so I've actually been offered like a contract. I'm no longer available for this job. So yeah, I went to Melbourne City, and then the year after.
Well, when Foot Locker come calling for an ambassadorship now, I hope you remember who was part of
50 mil.
the sequence, right? Like we'll take 5% commission or something.
yeah, no, it was crazy.
So your rise has been one that not many A-League players get to experience or go through. Your time in Adelaide, what was your... I don't like to say best memory because we like to just, piss fart around on this show. What was your funniest time in Adelaide, you would say?
Funniest time.
Is there a specific
Shout
story?
out Adelaide too, by the
Yeah,
way.
what a place.
Great club.
I think it's the best stadium in the A-League.
Yeah,
by the
without
way.
a doubt.
Yeah.
I don't know about funniest. I mean, to be fair, the clip of me dancing in the change room
Oh, yeah.
is probably up there. And obviously, I obviously knew the camera was there, but I didn't think about it at the time. We have the camera in that spot in the Adelaide change room every single week. So we're covering it up for the team talks and making sure it can't turn around and see our set pieces and all this stuff. You just forget it's there though. And then when I had left and I saw that, I was like, oh no.
Damn.
And then
hits.
when I joined Villa, you obviously get added into the players chat.
Oh no, that came with you.
And so I get added to this group chat and there's a message that says, welcome to the stiffest man in Australia.
I love that.
With the video of me dancing.
Love
I've gone, no, I'm never going to
Who
live this down.
said that? Which player?
It was John McGinn, the captain.
Oh, Johnny McKidd. He's a funny guy. Who was your keeper coach in Adelaide?
Eugene.
Was it you, mate? Eugene. He's God, right?
Yeah.
God in Adelaide. Quiet guy, but like for
Knows his
me,
stuff.
he was a captain of mine. But I don't be interested to see what he's like as a coach because his captaincy was very little sort of whispers in your ear, but loud with his saves in crunch times of games, and that was his
Kind of lead by action.
Yeah,
by
literally on the
example
field.
kind of thing.
And it was like, yeah, you still backed him as a captain,
Yeah.
even though he didn't really speak much. As a coach, how was he like for you?
He was phenomenal. I mean, I joined Adelaide. I was number 3 when I joined Adelaide.
Wow.
And then I made my way into number 2. And then, unfortunately, it was James Delinov. He got injured that I got the opportunity to go in. But, like, I never played a professional game in my life. I played over, like, 350.
Yeah.
It was just all these little details that he would tell me about the game, how to manage the game, and just things I'd never thought of. And I'd go into the game and do it. And I was like, wow, that worked.
Yeah.
You know, but he's still quite quiet, but also I respect him so much that, just the little things that he would say. It's like, okay, I'll go and do
When
it.
he speaks, you listen kind of
exactly.
guy, right?
And he also put a lot of confidence in me and trust in me to, you've worked hard. You've shown that you can do it. You do it every week in training. Go out and play the game and just go and enjoy yourself. And I think that's what I did. And, I think I was able to progress quite well. And, him as well as Carl, I met Carl he was my NTC coach when I went to
Yeah,
the
he
NTC
was the
Challenge.
NTC coach for a while.
He's known me since I was 14 years old. And, he was able to then guide me through at Adelaide.
Meant to be almost.
Yeah, it's special. I mean, Adelaide's such a tight-knit, place, especially in football. Everyone knows everyone. So, it's really, I'm so proud to be able to come through there as an Adelaide boy.
There's something in the water in Adelaide, man. I'm telling you, with the kids coming through, because it's about not kids just making it, but a lot progress.
Yeah.
Well,
Like for
just on that, Joe, it sounds like a few of the stories, the one that he mentioned about Foot Locker and all that, not getting into the AIS and missing out on that opportunity, and then coming in at third keeper in Adelaide. Sounds like your story has been not just like that, right?
No.
Like,
But it seemed like that from the outside.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we all spoke like, man, out of nowhere, he's at Villa.
Yeah. I think that's always how it looks though when you're on the outside.
True.
looking in.
Yeah.
You
Good point.
You don't really get to see the day-to-day, the setbacks. I made my debut at Adelaide. I played 10 games. I ruptured my quad. I was out for 3 months. I came back for a month in pre-season. I did it again.
How do you rupture your quad as a keeper?
Goal kick
Oh, bro,
Oh, yeah.
nasty.
Oh, bang.
in the warm-up.
Yeah.
Nasty, man.
But like those moments, like I was professional, but I wasn't really professional with what I was doing. I was playing in the A-League, but because I just come through the NPL, I probably wasn't doing the right things. Well, probably. I wasn't doing the right things. I wasn't looking after my body well enough. But I got injured, and I'd been playing. I was like, wow, this is really, playing's unreal.
Yeah.
Like, this is what, I've been training for 3 years, 2.5 years. Now I'm playing. This is what I've been training for.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm injured now. This sucks. What can I do to prevent this? So I was like, okay, I started to become more professional in what I did, started to work harder, find ways where I could get better, was asking myself, being tougher on myself. And then, unfortunately, James got injured again. And then, we kind of went back and forth for about a 12-month period. And then I was able to stay in until I ended up leaving. But, yeah, it's definitely, I've had my ups and downs. And then, obviously, when I came back in from, I guess from then on, it's progressed very quickly. But I think without the setbacks, I'm definitely not the person, I'm definitely not the player that I am today, because it gave me that, realization that football can change in the blink of an eye. One second you're on cloud 9, and then the next day you're on rock bottom.
And throughout that, like, you're quite a humble guy, but what would you say is it about yourself? Because there's a lot of players that would have made AOS straight off the bat and would have been the best player at the youngest age, and maybe you weren't considered that. What do you think it is about yourself? Do you think it's like self-belief, or what do you think it's about yourself?
I don't know. I don't really. Obviously, every player has belief in themselves and has that confidence in themselves. But I just kind of I'm just going to work as hard as I can and see what happens. And it's still really the same now. Like I got the opportunity I was just playing NPL and having a good time. Like I was in the middle of year 12. I just met my girlfriend who I'm still with, today. And I was just enjoying my life. Next thing you know, Mariners are knocking on the door, and I was a professional. It's like, oh, this is unreal. Like, this is, all my mates are getting prepared to go into uni and go work. Now I'm a professional. This is the dream. And then I came out of that, and it was like, okay, well, let's try to get back in. I was fortunate with Melbourne City. Then I came to Adelaide, and then I was playing. And although I had the ups and downs, it did happen quite quickly. And when it's happening to you, you don't think about it too much. You're just, all right, what's next? I'm just going to work hard and enjoy this. I'm just going to I get to play football every single day. I'm just going to work as hard as I can and see what happens. And I'm where I am today because of that. It seems like quite a cliche sort of answer, but it's just the reality of it. Like I just work as hard as I can and try and enjoy it as much as I can. And, if I ended up playing in the A-League for 10 years, and I'd have no regrets. Like I'm in the Premier League. I didn't think that would happen. Now I'm in the national team. I didn't think that would happen.
Yeah.
That's just the outcome of my work, I suppose. And that's where I get my confidence from, is I know that I'm working as hard as I can, that I'm being hard on myself, that I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to tick all the boxes every day. That's where I get my confidence from, not from I'm this great player. I've been the best since I was 12 years old. Like I'm not someone that went in goals and just started making saves. I was terrible. I'd cry after every game as a junior because I was making mistakes and conceding goals.
That's crazy.
So it's like that's where I get my confidence from, is that I'm giving this everything I've got, and if my career ended tomorrow, I know I've given 100%.
Bro, that was a locker room talk, man.
I think
that was fucking epic.
That was great. What you said is that football really has no limits of where it can take you. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. Like, you're a boy that came from NPL. Yeah. There are heaps of NPL boys here. And, then you went to A-League, then you went to Prem. Like, unbelievable, the story and the limit, that there is no limit with football,
Yeah, it's the places football has taken me. I was playing for West Torrens Bacala at 16, and now I'm 24. It's 8 years. I'm on the bench in the Champions League. we're playing Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I can tell you now as well. West Torrens is a little bit different to Villa Park, man.
Yeah, Jack Smith
Yeah.
Park.
I used to go for a kick there, man. I used to like dogs would be coming up to bite my ankles and stuff. So.
It's,
Damn.
there is no like, I think it's at the same time that doesn't happen to everyone. I understand that. I understand how fortunate I am to be there.
Yeah.
Because this tiny little percentage make it to there, even the smaller percentage stay there. So that's where I'm at now. It's like, well, I'm there. This is unreal, but like, I've got to be able to stay there now.
Yeah.
What have I got to do to stay there?
Speaking of things happening in the blink of an eye, even though it doesn't look like that, well, from your perspective, when did the call from Villa come in, and what was? Talk to us about like how that all happened.
I was at the Asian Cup.
Yep.
And we're obviously in the transfer window in January, but I was really just going to go back to Adelaide and focus on finishing the year. I was thinking in my head, okay, I think at some stage, maybe at the end of the season, I need to go overseas. That would have been my third consecutive season. And I was feeling confident in the league and confident that I was doing well enough to try and progress. And it was just getting towards the end of the window, and my agent just called me and said, someone from Aston Villa has reached out. And as a young player, I'd knocked back a lot previously. I could have gone overseas a lot younger, but I was very adamant that, I'd seen a lot of players go and come back. And I was someone, I didn't really want to do that. I was loving playing every single week. I was still making mistakes every week. And so I knew that I could still get better and better and better. And I wanted to make sure that when I make the jump, ideally, I wanted to go to a club and play.
Yeah.
But when a Premier League club comes in, I think you'd be really silly to knock it back.
Yeah.
So it happened quite quickly. It was about 7 days from that first phone call to when it got announced. So
Wow, that was quick.
it was it happened really quickly towards the end of the window. Obviously, the window shuts, so we wanted to make sure it got all done. But yeah, I was in Qatar, signed, announced. Unfortunately, got knocked out. I flew back to Adelaide from Qatar. 48 hours later, I was on a flight back to Birmingham.
Birmingham.
What was that first day like? Because
Cold.
cold.
I've been in Qatar for a month. I went home to Adelaide. It was 36. And then landed in Birmingham. It was 4.
Mate.
So even just walking into the building, there's some absolutely world-class players in there. You got obviously McGinn, Watkins, Bailey, Tielemans. What was your first day like? What did you do? Did they how did they show you around the club?
At all as well? 'Cause
Yeah.
that's a big room to walk in.
It is. I did 3 A-League clubs, I had 4 clubs in 3 years if you can include NPL. So I'd got used to going into new change rooms.
Yeah.
I'd then been settled in Adelaide. I'd come into the national team, and Australians are pretty easygoing, and you know people through football in Australia. So I was like, I'll be sweet. But I landed, and they played Chelsea in the cup that night.
That Enzo free kick, that one?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I went straight.
This guy.
No, I'm just asking the game.
He's a Chelsea fan.
I'm just asking the game. I saw Gauci on the bench. I said, hey, he's an Aussie on the bench.
That sounds like you knew what he had for breakfast, man.
Just happy for him.
Let's just acknowledge
Mike
to be
had a chance.
fair.
Happy for Enzo.
No, happy for Joe on the bench, man.
Enzo scored. Might
Anyway,
get a chance. Here we go.
we digress.
No,
Joe.
so I landed that day. So I'd went, and they were in. We go to hotels for home games as well under this manager. So they were at the hotel preparing for the game, and I was staying in that hotel, before I went and obviously found a house. And so I straight from the airport, straight to the hotel, straight to the team room where they're having their lunch. And I've just walked into my casuals, and you can just picture there's all the tables with the coaches, all the tables with the players. And then me, this lanky kid, just walking in and you could just tell they're looking at me like, who the hell is this guy?
Who have we brought in?
They don't know who I am.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
probably seeing, we've signed some keeper from Australia. They probably didn't even know we play football out here.
So you weren't in the WhatsApp group at this point.
I'd been added. So all they'd seen is my dance moves. That was it.
That's even worse, bro. That's even worse.
So, yeah, no, look, it's not that they're intimidating people, but in your own head, you probably, when you sing, you do your initiation song, you think that it's a lot worse than it actually is. So I've introduced myself and sat down, and Zach Clough, I played with at Adelaide. He knows, he grew up with Matty Cash. They played at Forest together.
He seems like a really good guy.
Yeah, Callum Chambers knows Matty from the time at Arsenal.
Wow.
John McGinn, Martin Boyle. So I was like,
You were locked in, mate.
I had probably more than most would have in terms of people and that mutual connection. So those boys off the route were really nice, and then obviously get to know the squad and everything else.
Before we go into the squad and probably your I guess, Martinez, which we will definitely want to speak about.
Ooh, yeah.
I just want to go into good evening. Sorry, had to get that out. Unai Emery. I honestly think he's like a top 5 coach in the world, but just purely, I mean, Aston Villa's playing Champions League football.
Yeah.
As soon as he's come in, I mean, what a steal in regards to how good he is. But can you just give us the insight into him, really?
Just so detailed.
Yeah.
Just so detailed. Yeah, it was something that straight away, it was like, wow, this is unbelievable. Like, just from the video meetings that we do and all the detail and the analysis that we do on ourselves, on the opposition, the detail in training, you know, the detail in our little drills, and how even the most basic possession then relates to in the game. And, you know, you're doing a possession and sometimes it can be chaos, but it's like, no, these are the positions. This is how we're setting up. You know, the goalkeeper's here, you know, everyone is in their spot and the rotations are so consistent. It's like the understanding that the players have of their own role, the other players' roles, and where they're going to be when they get the ball. And then when we go into a game, what the opposition's then going to do and where our space is. Just the tactical understanding has been, you know, something for me, I think, in Australian football where it's getting a lot better, and, you know, still watching the A-League teams are definitely starting to play better football, but it's something where you go to that level and it's just
Was it overwhelming?
unbelievable. I think because at the start I've gone in and I wasn't playing every week, it wasn't that overwhelming. I was just able to go in and just be a sponge and just absorb everything, and the changes they made to me as a goalkeeper as well, and the level, it was like, you know, I've got a lot of adaptation to make. Going in from the A-League level to Premier League level, training in, you know, at Adelaide to training with these guys, it's like, wow, I felt like I need to do a lot of work here. And, you know, so that was probably more overwhelming than anything. Was like, okay, the levels are really high. I was probably naive and thought it's going to be high, but, you know, give it a month or so, I'll be there. No. I didn't feel comfortable until probably this preseason.
So
All last season, I was like, I need to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
you're training with one of the best goalkeepers, if not the best goalkeeper in the world, World Cup winner. Without revealing any tactical things, is there anything that you've looked at him and learnt, wow, like, why? How didn't I think of that? Or, like, what is it like training with Emmy?
Yeah, he just keeps it really simple, and that he just works really, really hard.
Yep.
You know, I think with the amount of games that we play over there and the amount of games that he plays, especially with the travel and everything, national team, he'd probably do less. You know, it could probably be days where he could just be like, no, I'm not going to do as much. Or, you know, we have 2 days between games, -1. He could have just been like, you know, day before the game could just be like, oh, I'm not going to do as much. But he's really adamant of just doing the work all the time. And I think that for me is like, simplifies it so much. It's like, he had to be so patient in his career to get the opportunity that he has. You looked at, he was at Arsenal for however many years, loans, little games here and there, and didn't get the opportunity. Wasn't deemed good enough because of people's opinions, or maybe he wasn't good enough at the time, whatever. But he was patient, consistent, and obviously I didn't know him back then, but if he was working this hard for all those years, now he's seen the rewards of that. So I kind of like to look at that and go, you know, well, okay, maybe I'm not getting the rewards of it now. I understand, you know, he's been voted the best in the world 2 years in a row. No one expected me to go in there and play. Literally, I didn't, definitely.
Congrats on the game against Wickham, though.
No, I appreciate it,
Yeah.
but, you know,
But
those
kind of who
opportunities-
cares? Because it's like you're under the best goalkeeper in the world.
Exactly.
Like that's
Yeah.
invaluable
So
now.
much that you can
So,
grab from.
no, it's like I was in the A-League and I trained for 2.5 years before I even got the opportunity to step on the field. So people expecting me to, and, you know, I don't really care what other people think, but people saying, oh, he's not getting game time. It's like, well, yeah, that's so what? Like, I'm in the Premier League working with these players. I'm going to have to be patient again.
Of course.
I'm going to have to be patient again. And, you know, being able to see him working as hard as he does every day, it's definitely motivating.
There's probably, just before we round up, there's probably a lot of things that are different from the A-League to the Premier League, but just for you, the biggest thing, like the biggest thing that stood out, potentially more from a football point of view.
I think the striker's awareness of the goalkeeper was probably the biggest thing.
Wow.
Yeah. How aware they are of where you are, of how high you are in the goal, of how high or low you are in your set position, of your balance. They're very aware. So I found that there was things that I'm quite aggressive, and in the A-League I was very aggressive. When a player was coming through on goal, I'd want to close them down as fast as possible and just use my frame to be able to spread and smother them. first 2 weeks I was doing that. They're just hitting it while I'm moving, dinking it over me, like taking it around me. I was like, no, I can't be doing this.
Yeah.
So just how aware that they're through on goal, or they just look up, and they just look up so quickly and can take in all this information. And that's probably just generally in everything, all the players are able to take in so much information so quickly of a check of the shoulder, a little scan, and then they've got the quality to then exploit that as well.
Wow.
That's a mad answer.
That's
probably the best. We've asked a few people what's the difference between leagues, and they go, the speed.
That's the most real. That's the most real one.
But I think that's a given, though.
Yeah,
If I said the speed, you'd be like, well,
Yeah,
it's the
but
Premier League,
that's what I wanted. I wanted that makes us think.
I think that's that's the biggest difference.
Can I ask same question but off the park? The challenges. Okay, you've gone from living at home with your family and all that. Now you're in the Premier League, in another country, different culture, everything. The challenges from that side.
It's definitely Australian football is very much about the group, and very much like we'd have days off. We'd be going out for barbecues. After training, we didn't have food at Adelaide. We'd be like, all right, where are we going? We're down Henley Beach. Having lunch together.
Yep.
And I think with our schedule and just how busy it is, there's just so many people coming and going. We're just in and out. Boys will go training, and obviously you mingle in that in training, but it's like you got boys going there, you got boys living in London, you got boys living in Manchester. You've got all this stuff. I met I don't even know how many people I met in the first week. It would have been over 50 people, maybe nearly 100 people I met. It's just so busy. You're just always going when you're in the building. So I think that's probably the biggest difference, is that it's just go. It's just really non-stop.
Hard to settle.
But I love it. It's great. I mean, I've got my girlfriend there that's obviously helped me settle off the field as well. So, and the country is a massive difference. It's probably the biggest. We're so lucky in Australia to have the things that we
Say
do.
that again.
We're so blessed in Australia to be able to, and I'm so blessed to be able to be in the Premier League, because you really see a different side of England, and the Premier League's the pinnacle, and in change rooms where there's a lot of money in football and those sorts of things, but to be able to see England, I guess, broader as a football. As a footballer, I only saw the Premier League. And you think of England, I just think the Premier League and the money, and all that you follow them on Instagram and see their lifestyle. But being able to see the country more broadly and the people more broadly, it makes you appreciate, Australia and how great a country it is.
Bravo, Joe.
I think we'll wrap there.
Hey, we got to say, man, Joe follows the pod, man. We got to flex that. So shout out for you for supporting us, bro.
I enjoy it.
We're going to be watching all the Villa games, man.
Joe.
Can't wait till you beat Chelsea.
Anyway, no, we wish you the best. We wish you the best, man. We'll be watching from here, cheering you on. Thank you for coming on, sharing your
appreciate
stories.
it, boys.
Thanks, brother.
My pleasure.
Appreciate
My
it, man.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank
Legend,
you.
Joe. No. Well, if anything,
We can chat about it, just don't show the video.
No. The videos.
We've done our fair share.
We've actually got a formal written apology. See if anything.
It's my fault,
Yeah.
because I sifted through Facebook videos to find.
We good to go?
Just real quick, when you're holding the mic, about a fist away from.
Sweet. Beauty.
All right, Booters. I'm going to kick off the third one, because this is a guy that I've played with before and I absolutely love it. I mean, Australia just love him in general. The mullet's still hanging off him even when it's not. But Rhyan Grant, man, thanks for coming on the show, bro.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me.
First off, man, just how's it been in Socceroos camp?
Yeah, it's been really good. Obviously, it's been a couple of years since I've been involved. So, I was pleasantly surprised to get the text message off Joel, and then, to come in and see some friendly faces and some new ones has been really good. And, I'm enjoying it so far.
How many caps have you got?
I think I'm 21 at the minute.
Damn, that's a lot for a guy that's never left the harbour.
I know, I don't know. I've got that many, to be honest.
Come on.
21 more than
A lot
us,
of
bro.
people here, some people who agree with me, to be honest.
Well, with Jerome, I think you maybe have a bit of an apology. Hand up.
I'm doing this to Ryan's face right here. Apologies for finding that video and uploading it. I think someone actually... I had to sift through a few. I think someone took it on their phone on the TV. It was one of those it wasn't easy to find, but I thought I can't not put this.
Yeah.
This is Australian. This is like A-League heritage almost.
Yeah. No.
And it's a classic moment. But did you what happened with that? For our listeners that don't know.
it was one of those ones. I was young and dumb, and a lot of the boys just sort of jammed me up at the time and told me to do it, and I thought I was funny. Obviously, looking back, it's never escaped me, and something that will live with me for the rest of my life, and will pop up every couple of years. So, as embarrassing it is, it's there now, and not much I can do about it. But
Before we go into your career and journey, I want to throw to Rashid. Rashid, you probably played Sydney FC quite a bit in your time, one for Wanderers, one for Victory, so you've definitely come up against Buster, which actually, why do we call you that?
It's a great
Where's that
question. I
come
get
from? I've
asked
been
that all
calling you
the
that
time.
for my whole
Yeah.
life. I don't know why.
when I was a kid, I busted my head open about 3 or 4 times, and then as I moved on, I always knew 1 or 2 people whenever I went to a new team, and it sort of just stuck and to
There
this
you go.
day. So yeah.
Ryan Buster
There you
Grant.
go.
Rashid, what do you remember of playing against Ryan Grant?
Maybe 2 words. Fearless and intense.
For the most laid back guy ever, if you can't pick up.
Yeah, but not on the pitch, right?
Yeah, of course.
And I think, and consistent.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. Glazing.
Yeah, 3 words, but
Good to talk shit, man.
Did you two ever like?
Well, Buster's actually, to be fair, you I don't know if you're as bad as what we've said this before to Bratsy. Bratsy's great on the lip.
Yeah.
You're not too bad on it too, but I don't know. Do you still have that in your game?
Yeah, I think a couple. I mean, when we played the derby round 1, and there was a bit of a scuffle, and I sprinted about 20 metres, hoping everyone would be up and about for it, but it wasn't to be. It sort of was a bit of a carry on. But yeah, I like to get involved, give the people what they want. Everyone knows, you cross that white line, you turn into a little different beast, I suppose. But I'm a little bit lippy. Depends who it is and if they've made a fool of me or not. I don't want to give them any ammo. So
Yeah.
Who would you say you go back and forth with the most?
Oh, the
Like
shithousery.
over the time.
Shithousery Cup.
Yeah.
it's a good question. I remember Barisha was giving me grief about my mullet at the time, and I was like, "Do you not remember your skunk haircut?" Like, I was trying to get it. So that was the one that's off the top of my head. But yeah, I've had verbals with a lot of people, but all fun and games, isn't it?
We've spoke a lot on this pod about the recent sort of shift with youth development, obviously the AIS being dismissed, and now it's going into the club academies and so forth, and obviously the FFA's now, or the Football Australia's got an academy, and all of that going on. You were one of the few now that's experienced the AIS, and that's how I first saw you work, because we used to be your reserves when you played in the NPL in Victoria. Just can you go through your experiences of the AIS, what that was like, how that helped you, your opinion on maybe the shift as well?
Yeah, I think for me at that time it was definitely something I needed. I'd already moved away from home to Sydney for the New South Wales Institute of Sport, then was lucky enough to go to the AIS and to move away and live with boys, everyone with the same goal to be a professional footballer. You sort of get drummed into what you need to do. Your food's there, the gym's there, the training twice a day. That was pretty rare for people, or for boys or girls my age. So it really showed you what it was like to be professional, what you need to do consistently. So I think it was very crucial, not just for me, but I think all the boys that have gone through there, to show you how or what's required to be a professional. So yeah, it would be nice if it was still around. I think the soccer program or the football program didn't help itself in the way all the boys behaved over the years.
Call a spade, Buster.
Yeah, it was. There was some. What do you expect? You got 20 odd boys living together in pods, but
Then they brought back the age group for mine. They went from 17 and 18 to 15 and 16. So we ramped up.
trouble.
Ramped up a notch.
So that was for me very crucial, and something that I still have really good friends from those days, and some of the stuff you got up to, but also how much I improved within that 12 months or 10 months. I think I was there before I moved on, but yeah, that was crucial in my development for sure.
Yeah, I tend to brag a little bit about the amount of young Socceroo caps I have, but I do not even lay a finger to yours, because you've played so much. You played so much for the national team. You were across 2 age groups in the 20s.
Yep.
Did you play in the 09 20 World Cup?
Yeah, yep.
So we have a fascination. It was in Egypt, right? It was the same coach, Jan Baslane. We have a love for Aaron Moy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Can you just talk us through that specifically? Because I want to get into the World Cup we went to, but just Aaron Moy at that World Cup, because I've spoken about when we went to Taborg, that tournament, and when we opened up that manual and it said player of the tournament, Aaron Moy, in like 2009. And I was like, wow, this guy's that good.
Yeah, he was freakish. I think obviously you've seen what he's gone on to do, but at that time he wasn't really a household name. He was playing overseas at the time, so I didn't know much about him. I was only involved in a few of those camps before I went away, but I don't think he started the first game, and then he sort of had a bee in his bonnet the next day at training, and he just took the absolute mick, and everyone was sort of stood back and was like, oh, holy smoke, this guy's a player. And then obviously went on to play a few games the rest of that tournament. But yeah, I mean, he was doing exactly what he was doing when we see him play, or not now, but only a few years ago. He was doing that even more so at that younger level. So yeah, he was a freak. He's still obviously up there with one of the best players I've ever played with.
Really?
Yeah, he could do anything really.
Yeah.
Anything you wanted. Looked like he was in slow mo, but was always in control. Yeah, he was freakish.
Yeah. What I remember of him in that tournament as well, he scored, I think it was like, I don't even know how you'd hit the ball that way, but it's become common now, but like how Ronaldo takes free kicks. I remember he hit that ball, and it looked like it was soaring into row Z, and then it ended up in like the bottom corner.
Moy hit a knuckleball?
He did a knuckleball in 2009 in the World Cup.
I can't picture him doing
against a proper big nation too. Brazil, and it just went in. And it was like, oh my God. It was ridiculous. He was doing that back then before, like around Ronaldo. When Ronaldo created it, Moy was doing it.
So Ronaldo stole it off Moy?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty much. I just want to go into our World Cup together because that's where I grew a love for you, Ryan Grant, because just you're a superstar off the field. But my favourite game I ever played for the Young Socceroos was my first one. I don't know if you remember it, but it was in Germany. And we beat the Germans 1-0.
I've got a terrible football memory. So
there you go. That's how many caps this guy's played.
So it's just
all that game
in
never
general.
happened.
It's a yeah. I'm pretty sure you set up the Kofi Danning goal as well. We played it in just...
it.
There you go. Anyway. Well,
Kofi Danning.
We'll move on.
Shout out.
Do you remember... Well, let's go into the actual World Cup itself because for all the stuff, you're probably used to it now, but at that time, it was pretty new to all of us, like the police escorts, the shutdown of a country. Colombia itself was a crazy country in general, let alone when football's there. Then we have Spain staying in our hotel with all the big players. We lose to them 5-1. What's your memories of all of that?
Yeah, very similar. Just the police escort, all the fans sort of just outside the hotel and everyone telling us to say, Mamacita, Mamacita. Get myself in stride. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was just freakish. Like you said, just that next level of like fandom and having the police have to escort you to like training and the games, and obviously playing against some big nations, and obviously the whispers of, oh, this player plays for them, this player plays for them, and sort of comparing yourself and then trying to sort of keep you cool and play it cool like you're somebody too. But no, it was good again being in. The best thing about the AIS or going away for camps is just being with the boys and getting to know each other on a different level and going in each other's room or in the social room and just having a laugh and playing cards or getting up to no good. They're the best memories I have. Like I said, my football memory is atrocious, so I can't even remember.
Did you have a bad memory in general? Or is that just football?
Probably in general, to be honest, but just everything sort of mixes in
yeah, well,
sports
true.
or
You did go
teams against each
back-to-back World Cups. Boys, I want you to, Jerome, you may already know because I may have told you, but Rashid and Gav, can you guess the year Ryan Grant made his debut in the A-League?
I'm going to go with 2010.
Rashid, Gav?
I'm trying to think
How
of...
old are you, Ryan?
33.
I think it'd be before that. Wait, what's 20? Oh, is that possible?
I'll go 09-010 season.
09-010?
Yeah, I'd probably say the same.
Yeah.
Very early on, very early on.
I'd go 2010.
2008.
2008, bro.
Wow.
He's been in the A-League for 6... If the A-League was furniture, Ryan Grant would be a pillow. Like, he's been there for that long.
Throughout that period, have you had opportunities to leave and...
Yeah, there's been little opportunities. There's not so much concrete stuff where I was like, I can't not do this. There's been little clubs interested. Sometimes there were some opportunities where I sort of said no to, where I was like, the league's not great in comparison, or the lifestyle isn't what I was sort of after at that stage of my life. But there's been nothing crazy where I'm like definitely turned it down. It was more just sniffs and little rumours and stuff. But I've got it pretty good. I've always sort of said it whenever I get asked. I've got it pretty good, like doing what I love doing, living in Sydney's not my home, but it pretty much is my home now, or hometown.
But you're from Bathurst, right?
Yeah, from a small
Bathurst.
town
That's
out near
that's
Bathurst.
what he's meaning by that.
V8s.
Yeah, correct. Just adds to the shine of this man, right?
What do you love so much about the A-League to stay so long? and I'm sure they'll eat this up, the fans, but what do you love about the A-League that you just think no other league in the world has?
It's a good question. I think this year the way they've sort of promoted it is exactly what I love about the A-League. We sort of lean into what it is. There's some like peak A-League moments that everyone's like take the mic.
What's your peak A-League moment that involves you?
Oh, I've got a couple, dude.
Yeah, you're in a lot of them.
Yeah, there's one. I was ready to come on. I think for Burnie at the time, we were playing against Wellington away. Whereas anyone that's played there, any other stadium, the change room's only just up the tunnel, right? But at Wellington, you have to run around the pitch, go back into the stadium. And I forgot my jersey, and I was ready on the sideline just with my warm-up kit on, like ready to go on. They had the numbers up, and Arnie was coach at the time, and I could just feel his eyes in the back of my head. I think I looked down, and then as I look up, the camera's right in my face, and I just go... and then,
Did it get caught on the camera?
yeah, I was like literally making the substitute, and I was camera was right in my face because I turn around and I spot that I don't have it on, and I'm like, oh. And then, luckily, I think Clarkey, lucky he was fit as he was, our S&C at the time. Andrew Clark sprinted, got my jersey, got me back. To be fair, I'm surprised Arnie put me on after that, but I got on and we ended up winning, thankfully. Otherwise, I would have been in a bit of strife, I think, got a big fine. But yeah, that's a pretty peak A-League moment on my behalf.
From an A-League point of view, you've been here for practically all of it, and I think a real peak time, at least from people's outside, but as a player, it felt like when Del Piero came, it was just such a special time in the league. Can you give us some of the Del Piero stories? Because there was rumours that when he came in, he gave his teammates a book, an autobiography. His roommates, he gave people watches. Can you just tell us some of the stuff that people don't know about Alessandro behind the scenes?
Yeah, firstly, he was the biggest dude, like such a humble guy, real down to earth. He took us out for dinner, and none of it came across in like a pumperish way. He was just a good, genuine dude. Took us out for dinner. He had his own brand called ADP, obviously, and he gave us all a watch. He wasn't like, oh, here, have a watch, but he's like, if you want a watch, you can have one. He gave us a book.
Hold on, he gave you his autobiography.
Yeah.
That's not humble. What's going on there?
Yeah, but it's like, hey, just learn something.
If you want, I'm that great.
Learn how to... Here,
Do you want me to sign it?
I'll teach you how to finish. Read my book.
No, as much as it does sound like that, it never came across like that. He was such a dude. When he left, it was actually a great yarn. He hired out the whole Ivy, like the Ivy Pool, if anyone knows what that is, nightclub. It was pretty bang on back in the day. And just sort of had Brazilian dances. Everyone was up in the middle of the pool dancing, and he just sort of did that for everyone, just to sort of say goodbye and thank you and stuff. But even he sent me a text not long ago when I think I broke the record for playing the most games for Sydney, or it might have been my 300th, one of the two, and he sort of sent me a text which was unreal.
Way. Yeah. Did you have his number already?
I didn't. I think I had it in there, but it was the wrong one. Yeah. But he sent it off obviously just through WhatsApp or whatever.
What a nice guy, man.
But yeah, no, we had it was wild. We had people coming to our training ground wanting to get married, dressed up so he could be there to be the
celebrant.
And get photos. And he's just like in his training kit. We had like hundreds of people at every session. And we weren't super successful at that time, to be honest. As a club, we weren't doing that well. But we had people everywhere coming. People had tattoos. They would sign. He'd sign their arm, and he'd come back. They would come back the next week with it tattooed. I've never seen anything like it. Obviously, I didn't realize how big he was, especially in Italy. We went there for pre-season to where he was originally from and stuff. So yeah, got to see a lot of it and. Yeah, it was crazy, but such a good fella, good guy. That's
a great Del Piero story. Hear it from the horse's mouth. I mean, that's incredible. For those that don't know, Buster, I'm not going to put a name on you, but you're a little bit left field. You're a bit hipster. You're a cool dude, man. Like I strive to be a little bit
that
like
video
you.
begs to differ.
Yeah, fair play. That's why I was like, it's not an accurate depiction of you, but you're a guy that likes to do things differently. You hang out with your friends that outside of football. I believe you had or have a 1984 Toyota, which is like some old school car.
I love that.
Yeah, which is kind of sets a scene, and you love your surfing too. Like you're a beachy guy, which crazily you actually had a serious incident with which I'd love you to share about because it's actually not a laughing matter, but it's freaking crazy when I read up about it because I actually didn't know.
Yeah, it was probably like 6 years ago now. I think I was just coming back from my second ACL. So I was having a lot of time off or weekends off when the boys were playing or travelling. So I was getting into my surfing a lot more. I'm still not great. I'm definitely not a very good surfer, but I just enjoy it. But I was getting a bit too big for my boots. I thought I was a bit better than I was and went out in this massive swell. I'll say it's 6 foot. It was probably two and a half.
We'll go 6.
But I was living in the northern beaches of Sydney at the time, and at Collaroy there's this big drainage pipe that sort of shoots out maybe 100 metres into the water. And because it was such big surf, it was sort of crashing over it. And I surfed there all the time. I was living there, so I was going down out to my local break all the time, and then got out there and it was, a bit too sketchy and tried to bring myself in, but sort of got caught on the inside and all the waves were crashing on my head and got swept into this drainage pipe, got swept into it, broke my arm, broke my rib, but then got swept under it, and because I had my leg rope and my surfboard, it was sort of got caught in this, whatever you want to call it, that keeps the pipe in place. I think I was under for, again, probably not that long, but I thought it was longer than it was, and I was starting to stress and thought I was going to drown, and to the point where I sort of just said, this is it, gave up, and then my leg rope snapped and sort of spat me out the other side.
Oh my God, bro.
The leg rope is designed not to snap, right? And it's for some reason it did.
Thank God that was a shit leg rope.
Yeah. With the cheap version. And that's why. But yeah, got super, super lucky. And then, now I just sort of go out. My foamy in Bondi is a little bit different. I only go out when it's little and white
Turd
water.
you a bit.
A little bit, yeah. Right. To be fair,
That's massive.
Yeah,
Well, I'm not Kelly Slater anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't know what I'm from. The 4.5 hours from the beach, grew up, so I don't know what I was thinking. Well,
I did want to ask you because you seem to have sort of like what Jake said. It seems like you balance the enjoyment of football with the pressures of playing and stuff like that. Is that something? Are you very conscious? Like, I'm wondering how you view football and how you balance enjoying your life with still being a professional.
Yeah, I think probably through my mid-20s, I was, didn't watch much football. I was more into my social life and hanging out with friends and enjoying that sort of side of life. As I've got a little bit older and sort of had to look after myself a little bit more, I think I've focused a bit more on football and what I do around that. I've also got a daughter now that's one. That
Congrats, bro.
Yeah, thank you. Sort of keeps you in the house or keeps you sort of looking after yourself and being a little bit more sensible. Maybe not as much sleep as I'd prefer, but I think that sort of changed my outlook, not only in life, but on football, and especially getting this chance again, being part of the national team. It sort of makes you, look at yourself and what you can do to sort of stay at this level. So I think, definitely try and find a good balance. It was pretty conscious, to be fair, during my 20s, I suppose, where I didn't want to be known. There was this weird thing I had. I didn't want to be known as like Ryan Grant, the footballer. I wanted to be like, oh, he's a good fella, or he's a good dude, more than anything. And I think I sort of pushed more that way. Whereas now I'm sort of, you can perceive me as you want. If I'm a footballer, I'm a footballer. But I was very conscious on how I wanted to live my life. But now I'm just enjoy it all for what it is, and probably watch more football now than I ever have. To be honest,
imagine if you end up being a coach or something.
Yeah,
I'll roll over in my grave.
I've been saying it. I never will. But watch me. I'll probably do something. I don't know any different, to be honest.
But I think we've got a few more minutes, so boys, jump in. But I just wanted to touch on the time under Arnie when Sydney were invincible, and maybe get your 2 cents on Milos Ninkovic as well.
Yeah,
as a special player he is.
Yeah, obviously the Arnie era was super successful at Sydney. I think that 1 year, 2017. I don't know, were you at Victory that year?
Yeah, I think that was my last year.
Yeah, when we won in the grand final,
Yeah, I think, wait, in Pens, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that crushed me in the stadium, that game.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Seeing them all run off.
He's acting like, was I there?
Yeah.
You know you were there, bro.
I wasn't trying to rub it in.
Just
No, I
rub
was
it
just
in,
saying
bro.
that year was our, I think we broke all the records in terms of goals conceded, like goals scored, points, everything. So I think everything just was meant to be that year, and that's definitely the best year, probably on the field of my career. I think got my first call up for the national team that year. So I think, that Arnie era was really good, but then obviously Bimby came in and we were pretty successful there for a while too.
Correct, right?
But Ninko, it's a strange one. He obviously went to the enemy.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a hot topic. But as
Is it as hot still for you? Because I know you definitely bleed sky blue, but...
Yeah, no, I mean, there's obviously, without getting into the nitty gritty of it, he was a legend at Sydney, and I say probably was, because now sort of ruined. I don't want to put words out there, but yeah, he's gone to the enemy, and I think he's still a coach there. As a player, dude, I don't think there's been many better to play in the A-League, to be honest. I was lucky enough I didn't have to sort of come up against him too often, except when he obviously went to the Wanderers. But having him on your team, he was just one of those players. Just give the ball to and see what he could do. I think if anyone watches me play, I don't want the ball. I run off people. Yeah. I'll do the running.
Good at throw-ins.
If that.
Who gave like, from the outside looking in, it would look like Arnie gives the worst sprays, but I've heard that Steve Corica can get quite angry sometimes. So do you remember a specific spray from either of them where you were just like, oh my God, they've lost their head here?
Yeah, I think every coach has got it in them.
Yeah.
I think there's been a few docos where you see Bimby or Steve Corica lose his cool. Arnie definitely had it in him, but we were pretty successful, so it didn't happen too often. Uffy's definitely got one now in him, which is quite intimidating. But overall, they've all got something in them, and you sort of try and stay away or steer clear.
Do you respond better to them having a go, or do you respond better to an arm around the shoulder?
Probably somewhere in between.
Yeah.
I sort of, if I feel I deserve it, I'm more than happy to cop it.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes as every footballer, we whinge about everything. So if you feel like it's unjust, you'll go and have a little bitch and a moan to the boys about it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm somewhere in between, I'd say.
Yeah.
What are you at on A-League appearances now? Do you know the number?
I honestly don't know.
You've got to be. I reckon you'll get Jura.
I don't know. He's something.
Is he out of this world?
So who is it?
so, yeah.
Durante Broxham?
I have no
I think
idea.
it's Broxy first, maybe.
Broxy first. Oh yeah, it is.
Is
It would
Broxy
be.
now?
Would be Broxy
okay.
first.
It was
yeah.
Durante at one point.
You'd be top 5, no?
Which is crazy, man, because I still see you with the blonde hair and bobbing around. Like,
How does your body feel now?
I'm actually probably the leanest I've been in my career. And I feel all right. Obviously, there's always something, as everyone knows, there's always something niggling you.
Well, I don't think people do know that. Interesting enough. I don't think fans.
We
and
know
people
that, but yeah.
like players know, but I don't think
We've said this before.
people realise how much pain you're in when you're playing.
Yeah, well, all the people that don't know, and obviously us footballers, we understand, but I don't think I've been 100% fit since I was like 20. 21,
So true. Same, and I
there's
don't
always
play.
something, yeah.
I twinged my hamstring on Tuesday, man. I can't even walk at the minute. So yeah,
There's always something niggling at you, but it's just you've got to get on with it. Otherwise, you miss out.
And just finally, from a Socceroos point of view, obviously you mentioned you've been out and you've come back in. Like for you now at this point, do you just try and enjoy every moment? Do you set goals? Like what's your sort of mindset around the international setup?
Yeah, good question. I think at the minute I'm sort of just enjoying it for what it is. Even when I used to be involved, I always sort of had imposter syndrome. Like you see the players that are around you, and I've never held myself as a footballer in the highest of regard. I know what I can do and I know my capabilities, and I was always like quietly confident in myself, but still didn't always feel like I belonged. And so even back when I was involved more often, I was never take it for granted because I didn't know how long I'd be in there until I was found out. So I'm sort of no
Still
different.
waiting to find something.
But yeah, no, now I'm sort of just, real happy to be involved again. So I'm just making the most of it, to be honest, and trying to enjoy it as much as possible. It's obviously different now. Like I said, I've got a daughter, so being away from her is difficult, but I do love being involved with the boys and, like I said, seeing some friendly faces and meeting some of the new staff and seeing what it's all about now under a different coach. And yeah, so far so good. Really, really enjoying it.
Beautiful.
How old's your daughter?
She just turned 1 last weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That's man. That's
a different world now, huh?
Yeah, massive, different. But she's the best. She's flat out, but
Well, like her
I don't
pops,
know.
mate.
Yeah, I don't know where she gets that from.
What effect has that had on your football?
I think a really good effect. To be fair, I think there was a period probably when I sort of wasn't making the Socceroos, I wasn't playing my best, and then sort of she came around and it just puts life in a different perspective. As cliche and cringy as that can sound, it really does. You sort of love your football, but you do what you have to do, and then you go home, and it's just the best thing ever. So spending time with her and having that as a getaway is probably suited me to a person and what I needed as an athlete too, because as you can see, I'm back in the Socceroos now, so I feel like it's doing something right.
Wow,
It's sort
yeah,
of
that's
taking my mind off it a little bit, and enjoying life outside of football more than ever. So yeah, she's probably been one of the best things, to be honest.
Well, beautiful, Buster. Loved hearing from you. We're actually going to be at Unite Round coming up, so
beautiful.
we'll probably see you again
Big
very
game.
shortly. Yeah, big game. So we'll be there, mate, supporting you. But congratulations on
Thank
your
you very
career,
much.
man.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks,
brother.
boys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.